it's very important to at least know what is going on somewhere else, to make real experience first-handed. And I think doing that first-handed and really exploring Europe by foot is very important.
Currently we are organizing the 8-month-long education program. We are in Modra in the first training when we gather around 20 people from Visegrad countries, Bulgaria and Romania. We designed 3 different activities. First, trainings. On trainings, we were focusing on the topics I have mentioned: prevention of the radicalization, how to build a community, for instance, and not only build but also sustain, which is really important. Also, how to map stakeholders in the community, so different topics about the community level, because we stress so much this topic as well.
It was perfect. Actually, I learned a lot in these 3 days, especially the mapping project, which was a really nice one, and I liked it.
Sure that we pile it up like this, that's okay?
Participants are young people from different communities. We were stressing the community level because we don't like to work just with those who usually go for trainings, but those who somehow work with other people, young or older, in concrete community. It could be capital, it could be village or the medium-sized city, so different communities. We don't like to just meet for one day or for one shot activity. We would like to continue and to see if there is some progress or improvement among the participants. Also get inspired by concrete inspiration from Slovakia, Germany, Denmark, Bulgaria as well.
I would like to actually learn a few things and also to see how these work also not only in Slovakia but in general in EU, or especially in Berlin and Denmark.
We will get to see real organizations that they deal with real conflicts in the area, and that will give us a lot of experience and we will see things for real. A lot of things that we have talked about here, discussed here, it is not new somehow. We talk about it and so on. But in the same time, are we actually going to do something about it? That's the thing.
I learned about their experiences, what they do, their work, and then I can gain some better practices from them and applying them back to Cluj-Napoca. This event is the Africa Day. It's celebrated worldwide on 25th May, and it's about diversity. It's about the unity. When we are diverse, so we are rich, and that's also the message you are sending here. And also, as you see, it's like a space that you create. Families can come, mixed families can come with the kids. It's like a playground for the children to interact and to play, to get to know each other, to establish relationships.
At the very beginning, when we were planning this activity, it was after the migration crisis. We would like to prepare 2 journeys, one on the south of the Europe and the second one in the north. So something like when come the migration most in the south, in Balkan countries, and then when the integration is taking place. So that's why the northern part of Europe. When we somehow narrowed the choice to Berlin, we've been trying to contact our previous partner. With them, we're organizing other activities for maybe 5, 7 or 10 years. And it's something like a snowball effect. So they give us some other recommendation. We consider different topics we would like to introduce to participants. So it was like mutual agreement based on our topic for the whole Open Up for Dialogue program.
I think it's very important to at least know what is going on somewhere else, to make real experience first-handed, just to get back, to get more information, maybe get some motivation for your job doing that. And I think doing that first-handed and really exploring Europe by foot is very important. It's not like, meeting on conferences or reading books or articles or showing videos or stuff. It's just like walking around, meeting people, talking to people, listening to them, and that's a very good thing.
I really like the Cosmos Viertel in Berlin, as it was something really personal for the people there. They not only worked with the refugees, but they also worked with Germans living there, the underclass Germans who were kind of rejected by society, but they still tried to work with them and integrate them into the society of Berlin. And I really liked that one. The quartier management was really, they did an amazing job, not just with the refugees, but also with the people there.
The good thing is we have a lot of resources, we have 3 people who work there, we have time to talk to people, and we have some funding, actually pretty much funding from the city of Berlin to start projects, to build stuff. What's more complicated is to convince people that they are sense in like working with you or working for their neighborhood. So yeah, that's like going to where the people are, having coffee with them, talking to them, and building up trust. Entschuldigung.
I really liked the visit in the refugee camp and in the quarters management area. So I'm really amazed and impressed by the fact that Germany, especially the state itself, puts funding, a lot of like massive amounts of money in there, in this social aspect.
The thing of the refugees and the other ones, let's say the natives that are here, you know, many of the natives, you know, we have people who were in jail and stuff like that, and many of them have a kind of right-wing extremist position in their mind. So, and then they meet with the refugees. And a very interesting thing that happened last week, for example, was they were working in the kitchen, and they were working together in the kitchen, you know, and peeling potatoes, you know, the big equalizer, the German potato, yeah. And so there were 2 guys standing side to side. The chef of the kitchen is a very tough guy. So he's like, you know, like a general. You do this and this and this. And those both guys were standing together, and I had something to do, and I saw they were arguing with each other. You have one real German, you know, and one refugee. And they were arguing, and both had knives in their hand. I was thinking, social worker, should you intervene? And I didn't, but then the general came and shouted, because then they were standing at each other and not peeling potatoes anymore. So, and he was shouting at them, "You both do your fucking work, you don't argue here, it's my kitchen." And so they were standing there. And then was interesting, the German guy then, after all, because then I went away, but I was then told afterwards that the German guy said to the refugee, "He cannot shout at us like that. He cannot do this. We go to the social worker and we complain about him, and he shall do something. So, and you come with me, because it's all your fault." And so a few hours later they came both to me and complained about the chef, you know. And the very interesting thing was that then this German guy said, "Yeah, he just shouted at us. That was only because Ahmed didn't give me the knife." And the other guy said, No, it was Kevin not giving me the knife." And the very interesting thing was they had names. Suddenly they had names. It wasn't only the German and the refugee, you know, but they had names for each other. Real thing, the first step of integration is they have names for each other. And why? Because, you know, it's a social problem. They had problems with the authority. Yeah, that is it. And basically, and this is what they learned deep inside, is it's not a problem of race or something. It's a problem of social inequality. Yeah, you have some boss that can do whatever you want, and so both learned. Yeah, and that was very interesting, and that's the funny stories, you know, I really like about that.
I'm glad that I could be part of this program, because it's great to see how the integration procedure in Germany working, to see the good practices of this country, how they can really do the integration.
And I think also people here who are used to certain everyday rituals, and when they're confronted, I mean, it's a process and it's never easy.
The refugee camp was a new situation, because when we started to work here it was not there, and now we had a situation that there's like 300 new people who are new to this area, who need places to go to, who need to get to know the neighborhood, and the neighborhood is maybe or probably not the most open to the situation. So we started projects to develop possibilities where people can interact with each other, have fun, get to know each other.
Even from different experience, we know the diversity of the participants. Any training, any program, it's something which is a great asset. And this time we decided for Visegrad countries, Bulgaria and Romania, because in the past, when we started with this concrete program, we were mapping these 7 countries plus Germany on value-based conflicts. So that's why we would like to continue with the same regions and to work with the youth, which somehow also correlating with the conflicts we identified in those countries. So that's maybe one reason why we stick to those countries.
We try to organize a tour that we can show the group different associations. We started at Ramla, which is quite new association that works with young people in housing and combines that with a design aspect, a very creative way to involve young people. And then we did a tour to the RAW area, which is an old area that belonged to the German railway company, and nowadays it's more a cultural area for very creative ways, for theater, circus, a lot of nightclubs, but also restaurants, cafes. There's a big skate hall, and it's a very dynamic young place to be. And then we walked to the East Side Gallery. This is one of the last big parts of the Berlin Wall. It's a very historic site with a lot of graffitis on there, and the participants had a chance to have a look, take pictures, and I talked a bit about the east and west parts of Germany. And now we're here at the Görlitzer Park, which is known for problems of refugees from Africa. For dinner we meet again at the Kreuzberger Himmel.
So what we do with Be an Angel is starting to take the individual, listen, who are you, where you're coming from, what you're doing, and what's your need. We have a priority list with everyone, and then we're working the priority list. And we have guidelines saying no violence, no discrimination against whomsoever. Don't ever cheat us. If somebody is falling out, we're trying to, it's like football, it's the yellow card. If somebody is cheating or mistreating the organization or people, it's the red card, and we have to stop the support. That's the great thing about an NGO or volunteer organization, because we can say how long do we want to support someone. The best thing ever happening is when the people don't call anymore, because then they don't have no problems. We established the organization, we were invited, we rented 17 apartments ourselves. We were invited and had great meals and great hospitality, and then we thought, why don't we open up a restaurant? What a stupid idea. It's a hell of a lot of work. We found the church supporting us with these rooms that you're in right now. We have an overhead of 22,000 euros every month before we bought the first onion. We have 15 people working for us right now. We have the core stuff is 5 people fully employed. Then we have 6 people in the educational program where they afterward have their exam and they get their certificate that they are something in hospitality. And we have another layer of interns. We underestimate who's coming here, and we have to be more precise and more sensitive. And then we can support the people. So that's basically what we do. We support the people, you enjoy the meal, and I'm going. Enjoy.
We were focusing on migration, integration of migrants, also the prevention of radicalization of the youth or young people. Not the exit programs, but the prevention. We were trying to have diverse topics on the board.
not a policeman. I'm a social worker and also a master in social integration. Works in the AWS model, preventing radicalization and violent extremism. The AWS model is basically made to prevent homegrown terrorism. We do that through the use of all the various social services that we can provide through the Scandinavian welfare model. We try to prevent terrorism and participation in violent extremism as early as we can.
I work for an NGO called Street Youth, which does social work with youth with the radical views, or youth that is from disadvantaged environment. In Slovakia, we have quite a problem with anti-system voters or with people with right-wing extremism ideas. And I think the social program initiative partially could be a solution for the situation. Because many people in the regions feel left behind, and they feel like they are not really participating and that they are not really gaining anything from a free market or globalization, and they live in the conditions that they would wish for themselves to have a higher standard of living. And if there are no programs that would improve the social cohesion, then we really have a problem with extremism.
Project that really hit close to home was actually the last one we visited, Clifford's whole project with the young people in Copenhagen. His project hits close to home because I'd written to Clifford a couple of weeks ago to actually inquire about his methods, his experience in the field, because I want to do a similar thing in Bulgaria with to round up, like, as I'm gonna cite him, to round up the old chaps and you know, get them out of the schools, get them to like sports a bit and to have actual healthy connections with their peers. I really want to do a similar thing, so it was very heartwarming for me to see him having fun while doing it and him actually being successful with this.
My job is activating young people from the age of 10 years old to the age of 17-year-olds with sport as a common interest. And as you can see in the background, we are playing sort of like street football. It's football for fun. It's not like if you go to a proper football club where you have to train and run, and here we play for fun. This area where we are living in Copenhagen is like many other areas in Copenhagen. We have mixed population, we have ethnic Danes, but we also have people who have migrated here from the Middle East or Africa or Turkey. And in this country we have had migration starting way back in the 1960s. But that doesn't take away the fact that these people who are not who are coming from other countries, they need to feel that they are included and that they are appreciated and that there is a place for them here. We don't want a community that has polarised groups here who don't intermingle, interact. We want to get on with everybody, basically. One day I went into the library just down the road and there was an A4 size piece of paper saying, do you want to work with sports and the local kids in the local area? And there was a telephone number. I rang that number up and it turned out to be a project to activate kids who were hanging about on the streets at that time. It was 2001. So I got the job and we purchased a ship's container and we bought balls and goals and we played football with these kids, and that's how it started.
The reason why we are here at all, there's in Denmark there's like pointed out 66 places where there is this gathering of many people unemployed, many people bad educated, too many making criminal acts. So if they gather in an area, then it's possible to have programs like us. All 66 initiatives like us work with the two things: breaking the social heritage and making people more safe and secure. So it's about education, employment, and neighborhood. And then I support get around in the annual meetings in all the estates to hear if there's any ideas we can go on. Somebody has the idea of some green projects or the social projects, ideas. I used to just catch them. So I'm also kind of a salesman because we have a lot of different programs or offers, but it's necessary that the people living here know about them.
It's very good to see these examples and different approaches how we can work with our community in our conditions in our country, and here we can see that everything is possible if people are cooperate somehow together and if they help each other, if they can support each other. And according to myself, the networking is the most important, and I hope that after this training we will be able to cooperate together with also other participants to create something really huge and something what will bring to people what they really need.
There was one important component, and there is the grant scheme, so they can even have the experience how to create the project, how to run the project by themselves. So I think these are the main area when they could be skilled or even benefit from. We offer the opportunity for each participant to create the project in his or her own community, using the knowledge from trainings and inspiration from different visits, field visits.
Our project is about intergenerational dialogue by music, and we try to connect people of all age categories. We work with the young musicians and also with elders, and we try to cooperate in different orchestras. We have a youth brass orchestra, and the age of our musicians are from 10 to 25 years old, and another orchestra is over 60 or 70 years old, which are professional musicians from theater, from radio, from Philharmony, and we try to put these professionals with young kids, and we try to cooperate together, and I think that it's a very nice way how to motivate these kids, and it's a huge inspiration for them.
Ja nerozlišujem vek, nerozlišujem kvalitu, každý sa vie zdokonaliť, lebo noty ako také, to je jeden super jazyk a hudobníci, či sú mladí, či sú starí, sa vedia vždy sklbiť do takej súhry, že tam nie sú rozdiely. Ani etnické, ani národnostné. No skrátka, hudba to je pojitko, ktoré dáva dokopy mladých, starých, stredných, dokonca už aj deti. Takže mňa to teší, mne sa strašne dobre hrá s mladými a si ich vážim, že oni si so mnou zahrajú.
My project is about combining photography and talking about mental health issues and trying to offer the necessary tools, in this case by photography, to maybe working or being able to work on some mental health issues, or to be open to talk about yourself, to have a tool to get closer to something that is going on inside you. We are using analog photography as a tool because you kind of have to slow down to have your results. This might be a good possibility to slow down and to take a look inside of what's going on or what they are interested in. We kind of get a really good picture of what the world of 16, 17, 18-year-old young adult is like. One of my other goals was to have ethnic Hungarians and Romanians working in the same project, but working together, not along. In this town, my hometown, even if we are in Romania, Romanians are a minority, so there aren't too many local projects which are involving them. So in this one we have Hungarian and Romanian students. It's a chance for Hungarian students to learn better Romanian, or at least to be in contact with it, and it's also a chance for Romanian students to feel that they are part of something local as well. And in both cases they need a lot of patience. Like we are doing the project both in Hungarian and Romanian, so actually the same information is repeated. Photography is like something which doesn't need, it's a language of its own. So there's that possibility of communicating as well. And it's working. I was surprised a bit. It's working so nicely.
One of the projects was interfaith dialogue, but this was not something planned. This was somehow creating step by step from the very first training. 3 different participants, Islam, Miruna and Mishka. They were very strong in their belief, and each of them were coming from different religion. They somehow feel that the dialogue among these 3 monotheistic religion is important, and they were working, each of them, with young people, so somehow they feel that there is even the interest of young people to get information more from the other religions and to help even on mutual understanding and better tolerance, and not to contribute to really like raising hate speech, which we are witness especially on online world.
We had long conversations about the differences and similarities between Islam and Christianity. It's just the starting point of really long-lasting friendships and partnerships for future projects as well.
In the Orthodox Church,
the altar is separated from the rest of the church by a wall called katapetasma, which is filled with paintings of like icons.
Yeah,
so you don't have access into the altar. Only priests can enter, and some boys, never women.
The ministers, yeah.
Yeah, no, women are not allowed to enter.
To enter like this area, the mihrab?
In the altar.
Like the mihrab.
They decided each other to continue on this issue, but on their own, and they support each other. But I feel somehow they could even continue in the future.
One of the main basic things why I came here is for me to be able to deliver a message of tolerance, a message of solving a conflict with nothing but dialogue.
My project was about interreligious dialogue. Specifically, it was about connecting the Catholic youth from my community with the Muslim and Jewish community in Bratislava. There were several activities implemented, and the first activity was mapping. So I basically mapped the knowledge and interests of the Catholic youth. And I asked what they know about the Jewish and the Muslim community, especially in Slovakia. And then we had a lecture a short lecture in the Islamic praying place, the musalla, and we also saw the whole temple here in Bratislava, the Muslim temple in Bratislava. And then we also visited the synagogue, where we had the opportunity to meet one of the elders of the Jewish community, who told us the stories about his life, the life of the community. And it was really good to see how happy the communities were, or the members of the Jewish and Muslim community were. They were really happy to welcome us and to kind of tell us more about what they live, how they live in Slovakia, what their challenges are. So it was really, overall, it was a really good project, and I'm really happy I could have done that.
One nice project is taking place also here in Bratislava, and is working with community of those people who are not using the cars. Concretely is enlarging the area, the garden area of Bike Kitchen here in Bratislava, and to create a space where they could slow down and have a nice talk, for instance. So this was also part of our project scheme as well.
It makes the world a little smaller and less of a scary place to see that there are people like me that are actively preoccupied about these topics, and they're starting to do small things, but together they add up to a big thing.
One can see lots of different perspectives and points of views, and it is a good feeling to be able to be part of a community like the participants of this project, where it is okay to discuss about not necessarily opposite perspectives, but points of views which have quite huge differences. And I think everybody was flexible enough to understand the differences and to be able to talk about them.
I really like how each and every one of us is different, though we have everyone has the dignity, a very special sense of a very special feeling, and this inner dignity that I'm very amazed by and that I really admire. People want to bring something good and something positive to the places they live in, and this gives me hope that, I mean, maybe world is not just a helpless place.
Final offline meeting, the third, was taking place in Bulgaria, in Sofia and Plovdiv, and the reason why we deciding to go to southern eastern part of Europe is to balance even with inspiration, not only from to give the nice initiatives and projects from Berlin and Copenhagen, but to also to visit other part of Europe as well. It was also the time somehow to learn about the projects, because we have nice project gallery when the participants, they're really proudly and present their projects, what have they done. Even we were together 8 months, not like all the 8 months, but we were somehow meeting in different places. We don't know if some of these people will continue in this work, or maybe when they finish, in which community, because usually when we meet our students from different trainings or different programs, then we realize that it has the meaning to do so, even we don't know how it really finish. And this is something with education especially unpredictable. You never know what kind of small piece of inspiration or even the word could influence somebody to do concretely, like sometimes long life project.
Today somehow I felt that we have grown to another level when it comes to the discussion, and we started really to do the part that we are really here for, open up for dialogue, because we're supposed to do that within ourselves. And no matter, we still people, we come here for a reason, but still we have our own ideas and thoughts, and it's really okay to share and to talk it out so we can see what we can do about it.
See the nuance of the questions and the nuance of the perception and the sensibility that is required in order to be specific in this sort of work, and how sensitive you have to be in order to develop that empathy. And every time I listen to people or to your questions, it just opens up so much optimism, but also perspective.
The feeling of this complexity in this topic, one of the thoughts I had is that it's okay to focus on small thing and still have this feeling that this is the part of something bigger.
It was a nice experience, and I learned many things, and it was great with great people around, actually, diverse group. That's all.
I like it very much on this work that you work for a good purpose, but the doors are open, and it's up to the participants themselves to take their advantage or take their even small seeds and to flourish.